Hey YouTube, Merrick Pie here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about 7-segment displays. I'm not going to be talking about a binary counter that converts to digital that then displays on the 7-segment display using some bus system, yada yada yada. I don't really care about that. What I am going to talk about is trying to get all of your wiring, I'm going to show you the back of my 7-segment display, behind the face. Why do you care? Well, if you have all your wiring directly behind the face, it's a lot easier to place multiple 7-segment displays right next to each other without having to accommodate for some large set of wires that go way out to the side. So they can be a lot closer and a lot easier to read. And to me, one of the things that made it fairly difficult to do was utilizing this inner space to get to these vertical, and utilizing this inner space to get to the vertical meant I had to figure out a way to get these three horizontal to work without using much vertical space, because I've seen a lot of things that look sort of like this, where you've got two redstone going into the left and rightmost lights, left and rightmost inverters, and then some downward inverter that powers this middle one. And I mean, it works, it obviously works, but it's gonna take up, let's see, it's gonna take up all three spaces of that middle, and so you'd have to be shooting off to the side to get to some of these. Rain, rain, go away. So, the first inclination was, well, I don't know, why can't I just put the redstone right next to each other? And if I get rid of this, you'll see why. When I have a space in between, these two redstone wires go directly into these two inverter blocks. And because they're going directly in, it works and it powers the inverter. If I place this right here, however, because these sort of automatically update based on the redstone nearby, they no longer are going directly in, they are actually curving to meet the new redstone. And since they are curving and no longer going directly in, now none of them are powered. So I thought, how can I fix this? Had a little burp. So, watching Steven's, what was it? The analog clock video. I mean, it has nothing to do with this, but it gave me an idea. When I saw that he had some system sort of like this to power his pieces for the 12, 3, 6, and 9 hands. And I thought, well, you can put repeaters right next to each other, and it'll work. You can also put wire next to a repeater, and it'll work. So when I first was trying to make something like this, I was trying to do it on a server where I didn't have unlimited resources, so I didn't want to use tons and tons of repeaters. So I thought, how can I make this work? So I ended up coming up with this. What it is an inverter that powers this repeater and these two redstone wires. And you actually have to have this inverter right here, which I'll explain in a second. The torch right here powers this redstone repeater, which sends the information through to this inverter, which turns it off. And because there is no actual redstone in between, these aren't updated to curve like this until they go straight into these other two blocks, which turn the leftmost and rightmost on, or I guess off in this case. You have to have it as an inverter right here, because let's say I go something like this, and I put my power right here. Okay, it works for the two side, but there's a quirk with the redstone repeaters where if it is not going directly into it, just like with these blocks, it won't receive power. So you put your inverter, you put your power source right next to it. These wires don't care how they get power. They can get it from pretty much any angle, above, to the side, below, even. But the redstone repeater has to get it from behind. Whatever. So, and this is also good because whenever you have a 7-segment display, you want to have a single block, a single piece that powers all 3 of these segments so they can all turn on and off simultaneously. It will work. It will power that specific segment simultaneously. So I can turn, if I want the 2, I turn this one all on at the same time. And when I go to 4, I want all those to be off. I don't want to have to control them all separately. So I thought this was a pretty good solution. One thing I also figured out when I was messing with this info was if you're ever trying to make, maybe not a 7-segment display, but maybe sort of like a letter display. Like, I've got Proxy all over here. Proxymatic is the server that I play on. If you're ever trying to make sort of a letter display, that one's kind of messed up. If you're trying to make a letter display, and say you're looking for that 0, with the letter display, you don't really care whether this segment is independent of the other segments. You just want this letter to light up all by itself. So you can actually use this repeater as sort of a quirk. So here I've got another setup. This one's sort of lifted. And I've got 5. Actually, I'm going to cut this off so it doesn't reveal my secret yet. So I've got 5. And this time I've got, say this is like the top of my, this is like the top of my, my O over there. When I have a repeater block go in to a solid block, what happens, unlike redstone wires, they sort of send it through this block and onto that torch, and it only powers the other side or something attached to this block. The repeater block, however, it almost turns, it's almost as if it turns this block into like an 8-directional wire. Would it be 8 or would it be 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 6-directional. So you add, you know, the above and the below. So because it adds the above and below, it can actually power a redstone wire below it. Creepy, huh? So because this shoots the power below, it turns this on, and you can use that to power these 2 redstone inverters. Kind of rambling. Like I said, I'm new at this. If you check my channel, this is my 2nd video, so I'm a little bit rambly. Had to restart this several times, but hopefully as I do more of these, I'll get a little better at saying my spiel more quickly and more precise, and it'll get a little bit better. But I think this information here would help a lot of people when they're trying to make these 7-segment displays without it getting way insane. See you next time.